Alright, Shalom Hebrews. Shalom Hebrews. This is Israel, been Israel for the Israelite Brotherhood. Doing this video showing that Cain's seed is the dragon, and how that dragon seed got over into the Amorites. And the Amorites were mixed with the Nephilims. Those are the giants, Cain descendants, and those are gonna be the people in Genesis without a descendant. You know what I'm saying? But without any roots or genealogy. They just pop up out of nowhere, and those gonna be the people, that are descended from Cain, and how they was the killers and the murderers and the liars and stuff, and how Cain descendants had a line of killing, some murderers and stuff, and as you read, Genesis, it'll tell you about how Cain come about and how he killed his brother Abel, and then told a lie, which would be the first lie. He told the first lie and said he ain't know where his brother was or what happened to him, and the Creator say, hey, the man blood is crying out from the ground. You done did something to him. And then, dude went on and, got cursed. The Creator cursed him and made him, took his pigmentation from him and gave him tzaraath. And tzaraath is the word, the Hebrew word for leprosy. Gave him tzaraath. And then, he turned white. And then he got on down and stuff. He got on away from the Creator. And the Creator, told him to get on away. And then he went to Nod, and so it's like chapter 4, Genesis 4, verse 11 now. But we know that this is the Torah, the first 5 books. It's going to be the history that Prophet Moses gave us, And now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. And Cain said unto the Elohim, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth. Meaning they was gonna go in them caves and hide, be in caves and be a fugitive in the earth. That's gonna be a robber, a crook, a thief. Them people that come raid towns and villages and snatch their stuff and then get back off into the caves and the mountains. And that's what they did, as can be seen also with some of their descendants, because they gonna mix up with the with Japheth's seed too. Ashkenazi. Ashkenazi gonna be tending with Cain bloodline. And then when them folks come out the Caucasus Mountain and stuff, they'll go down into Assyria and they'll snatch stuff, and then they'll run back up in the Caucasus Mountain, and then they come down and start kicking it, and they destroyed Assyria. I got history explaining that. All right. But these Cain descendants are the killers, and that's the bloodline that got over into them Amorites and them other folks, and also Cain gonna be the first, he ain't gonna believe in the Creator. You see, when Seth was born later on, we don't know how far later on, when Seth was born after Abel was killed, and the Creator told Cain to get on down, and Seth gonna be the first one to call on the Creator. But this is the thing about Cain descendants. Now we know that it was some people before the flood and after the flood, and we know that some of those people that was fair mixed with the sons of the Creator, say, and that will produce the giants, the people that had the skills, and that was the warriors and so forth, that had the knowledge and a whole bunch of stuff, because we know that Cain built cities also, when he got on the way from the Creator, that he took off, so he had some kind of knowledge of building and so forth. And as you read, you'll see that Cain descendants was killers, because after he done killed his brother Abel and the creator and told him to get out, you know what I'm saying? Cain had some descendants, we probably Abel had some kids before he died, because he was a farmer and raised sheep and cattle and stuff. So, it said that they possibly could have had twin sisters. We don't know. But we just going to have to go by with what Prophet Moses left us, and we know that the story and the history ain't going to be in its original form, because the Babylonian scribes got our history and translated it immediately after we broke the covenant. The Babylonian scribes got their hands on our history and started translating it, because this history was about them and it exposed who they were. We responsible for what's called the Tanakh. That's going to be from Genesis to the book of Malachi. We're responsible for their history, and we had their history under our control till we broke the covenant and ran off into Africa. I pray that I get their history in, but I got a lot of videos explaining how we was tricked out of our heritage and how we was chased off the land. And I show you the people who did it. But anyway, as you read about Cain, you're going to see that, Cain got on down, the creator done turned him white. That's one thing about when you violate the creator, do something wicked back then, 9 out of 10, he going to put that mark on you, and that's to take your pigmentation. So being that Cain wouldn't have no pigmentation, and his descendants ain't going to have no pigmentation. All right, so, what I'm saying? He got on down after he slayed his brother, and the creator put a mark on him. That's going to be tzaraath. At least anybody finding me should kill me. And Cain went out from the presence of the Elohim and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And he built a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son. So he got some descendants. We know that the creator had some sons walking around, so he could have had some daughters. So he could have, Cain gonna be the first one to cross over and gonna be the first Semitic dude. The first Semitic dude gonna be Cain, because if he done been changed from black to white, and we know that it's cases where the creator done took a person's pigmentation, as when Moses was told to hold his arm out, and the creator took his pigmentation. And we know that the creator turned Jeroboam, Gehazi, and a few other individuals into non-pigmented people. And that we know that the Canaanite tribes were non-pigmented people too. You know what I'm saying? Unless they mix back with some of their Hamite brothers and sisters and kin, which, I can show that, some of them did. It was the East and the West Canaanites. But, the Cain descendants are going to be the first non-believers, and that non-belief and that disbelief in creator will be passed on to the Amorites. And that's what created Babylon, and that's what, gonna influence Egypt and so forth, because those folks didn't believe in the creator. And I can show that they had hybrids on their walls. That's like in Babylon had that dragon. That dragon was a hybrid, and the dragon symbolized the hybridization of things, and that's how, they telling you that they had the power to change one animal into another animal. You see, all this gonna be anti-creation. Okay, so as you read, you know what I'm saying, about Cain, and then you get on down, he got some descendants some kind of way, and then you're gonna get to where, it talk about, Lamech. There's gonna be Cain descendants, and his brother name was Jubal, and he was the father of all such as handled the harp and organ. And Zealous she also bore Tubal-cain. And then you're gonna see that Tubal-cain name mixture with Tubal from Japhet gonna have descendants that's gonna mix with the Cain tribes too. And she also bore Tubal-cain and art instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. And the sister of Tubal-cain was Nema, and Lamech said unto his wives, Adah and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech, for I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man of my heart. And if Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, surely Lamech 77fold. So, see, Cain descendants killing. Every time they turn around, they done killed somebody. Probably for something. And then, he didn't get no instructions from the Creator. Cain ain't gonna be none got no instructions after he done got kicked out the garden. He gonna be hot and mad. And then that's where the disbelief in the Creator gonna come from, And then as you read on down, you will see it says, and Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son. So, they mostly keeping up with the sons. And called his name Seth, for Yah said she had appointed me another seed instead of Abel, who Cain slew. And so Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began man to call upon the name of the Elohim. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to start calling on the Creator and start worshiping the Creator from Seth. That's going to be Adam's other son, that was born way after Cain and killed Abel. And as you read down, it tells you the generation of Adam, and then it don't even name Cain in here no more. See, Cain name is not mentioned no more, because he was a killer and the Creator cast him off and told him to get on down. And we seen how his descendants would be killers. So them gonna be some white folks that ain't got no pigmentation. There's killers, because we know that Cain, 9 out of 10 gonna have tzaraath, a form of leprosy on him as his mark. Okay, so Cain descendants ain't mentioned no more. But as you look and notice, and read about Adam's lineage through Seth, you're gonna see that the lineage is kept up with all the way down to prophet Noah, and that it was some other people on the earth being wicked and evil, and how the prophet Noah had to get into this craft that the Creator, told him to build, and how, he would be saved from the destruction that the Creator would bring on Cain descendants, because they had to be the ones. And then that's why come they say that, as you read in the scriptures, the prophet Joshua will tell you that it was some people on the other side of the flood, as if the flood was on one side and not on the other side. All right. So as you read, you will see also, that it says this is Genesis 6. And, and, and it come to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives, all which they chose. All right, you see when it say that they was fair. Okay, the word fair gonna mean white. You see what I'm saying? The word fair means white. The word fair means white. See, they slick now. The people who we abandoned our heritage to were Babylonian scribes. They had thousands and thousands of years of writing and scribing and keeping history for gods, all in Mesopotamia. So when they got a hold to our heritage, and they would be able to hide themselves and try to erase their history by the changing of words and so forth. But the history is still here if you know who the Hebrews are and what happened to us in our last days. It's like you can backtrack from there and kind of like get an understanding. That's like from the book of Jeremiah gonna be the book that we ran into Africa during the Babylonian Wars when we was chased off the promised land, and we was constantly told by the prophet Moses and the prophet Joshua that if we got in the land and started mixing with them people, and the Canaanites were contaminated with the with Cain descendants, the killers and the murderers and the people that didn't believe in the Creator. So that's why come, the Amorites and the Canaanite tribes will have other gods. You see, and I can also show that they had worshipped the Creator at one time, because the Creator saved the Amorite, saved him. He was thrown out, in his blood, and the Creator saved him and had mercy on him and gave him a civilization. But they mixed up with the Cain descendants, and then that's where the disbelief gonna come in at. And that's why come that legacy of disbelief is passed down today, is because Cain descendants made it with Canaan. The Ham's descendants, the Canaanites, who was tzaraath and didn't have no pigmentation. And then, the disbelief would carry on through them. And that disbelief went from Egypt all the way to Mesopotamia. Okay, look, you see that word fair? All right, you see that word fair? And that the sons of God saw that the daughters of man, that they were fair, meaning that they was white, and they took them wives, all which they chose. So if these folks, these heavenly host people, mix with Cain descendants, and the heavenly host people come from out the skies, then you should see somebody trying to get into heavens to be reunited with their people. And guess what? That's going to be the people who control the space agencies today. And everybody know that the space agency going to be in them folks' hands. Elon Musk is a Jew. You see, and he's an Amorite. You see, he going to be, tinted with Amorite. And all Amorites are tinted with the Nephilims. Those going to be the giants in the Bible. And I'm going to prove this. But if you look at the word, the word white, fair skinned people, fair skinned people having pale skin, pale complexion, fair skinned person having pale skin, pale complexion, fair skinned people. So then that's gonna be Cain descendants right there, because 9 out of 10 when Cain killed his brother, the Creator sure enough gonna put a mark on him, so everybody will recognize who he was. And then being that he was like that, people would probably try to snuff their life out, and then that's gonna make them come back with vengeance to get you 7 and 8 fold and stuff, just like how life being and stuff. Okay, look, you see the word fair skinned person. Fair. Just like in the Bible, them angels saw that them folks ain't have no pigmentation, and that they probably, knew that they can get down with them, and that whatever wickedness that they wanted to do, that the ones that had no pigmentation gonna be down for it. All right, so then you see it say fair skin, having pale skin, pale complexion, fair skin, people who spend a great deal of time in the sun. You know what I'm saying? That's them. All right, so then that's gonna be Cain descendants. They gonna be fair, meaning white. And then we know that he was drove off and went into the earth to hide from the Creator in the beginning, before he probably came out and built the city. And we know that the Creator flooded the earth on that side, because the prophet Abraham came to the other side of the flood. You see, so as Joshua said, and let's look at this. If you go down to Joshua 24, and it reads, and Joshua gathered all the tribes of Israel to Shittim, and called for the leaders of Israel, and for their heads, and for the judges, and for the officers, and they presented themselves before Yah. And Joshua said unto all the people, thus saith the Elohim Yah of Israel, your fathers dwelt on the other side of the flood in old time, when Terah and Abraham, Terah the father of Abraham and the father of Nature, and they serve other gods. And I took your father Abraham from the other side of the flood and led him throughout all the land of Canaan and multiplied his seed and gave him Isaac. So on the other side of the flood, and then we know that Prophet Moses said that it was some folks uh, uh, before and after, meaning before the flood and after. So that's gonna be Cain descendants surviving. You see what I'm saying? And that's gonna be them hybrids too, also. Because after Cain probably come out the mountains without no sunlight and nutrition, vitamin D, his bones probably gonna get all messed up, and that's gonna be them hybrids too, because his seed gonna be them mixed with them fallen angelic beings. You see what I'm saying? And that's gonna be them hybrids also, because a hybrid is something that is mixed. Another species mixed with another species, and then that's gonna be the same as the being a Semite. That's like they try to trick us with that word Semite, saying that Semites are something different. They try to make Semite, the word Semite, be the same as Shemite, but Shemite but Shemite is from Shem and is not a Semite. Semitic means to mix, to be mixed. Jews are Semites, not Shemites, and they get their Semiteness, being Semitic, from mixing with Cain descendants. You know what I'm saying? Because Cain descendants had mixed with the fallen angelic beings, and Cain ain't had no pigmentation, and that they was fair. You see that word fair right there, and that they was fair. So, and them people went all the way to Babylon too. And Babylon gonna be the headquarters. Okay, but as you read, and it says, and there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of Yah came into the daughters of man, and they bore children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, and men of renown. Okay, as you read, and then you keep on reading, and then you get to Noah's descendants and so forth, and all of them are listed. Shem, Ham, and Japhet. They listed they descendants, but then you get, to some folks that ain't listed or are traced to Noah's descendants. So that's gonna be Ham's Canaan's descendants that done mixed over, and then that's gonna be the Hittites, and them type folks, and them folks gonna be them mixed with the Amorites, and that's gonna be where Sodom and Gomorrah come from. You see, and that, what I'm saying, that's like Lotan. Lotan is, and Hori. Lotan is not, mentioned among uh, uh Ham's Ham's descendants, Shem or Japhet descendants, and that them folks gonna come from the giants. The that's gonna be Lotan, and the inhabitants of Sir, the Horites. You see, the Horites and so forth, because as you look at Ham's descendants, they not listed among the Canaanite tribes, but yet them folks lived in the Canaanite land. You see, and then here's Cain's Canaan's descendancy. Here's Cain descendancies, and you don't see the Horites listed in there, and you don't see the Hittites listed in there. They try to slick say that the Hittites gonna come from Hith, but that ain't what we wrote. We would have easily wrote that, being that we had the Hittites name already out there. We would have said that Heth gave birth to the Hittites. You see, but you see the Jebusites and the Amorites, and the Havites, all of them come from Cain. And the Semites are the Sinos. That's gonna be your East Asians, the Chinese, and so forth. And that's like, the North American Indians and all those folks gonna be descended from these folks that had spread abroad. and the Arvadites and the Zemarites and the Hemathites after the war were the families of the Canaanites spread abroad. You know, the Canaanites gonna be the first to move around, so they gonna be the first to come in contact with Cain kids, the people that's fair and they ain't got no pigmentation. And then that's why come all the people started to get light skinned and they pigmentation started to change around the earth, because you know Cain, Ham descendants gonna run across those Canaanites, and we know that Sino and the Semites, you know, that's gonna be the Chinese and them folks, the East Asian, and them folks ain't nowhere from, you know, the land of Nod, gonna be up in the Caucasus Mountain and in the cold region, because you know when he was chased away from the east, the Mesopotamia all the way into Africa, down to the Sudan, and you know all them parts gonna be considered the Garden of Eden. You know where those rivers are mentioned, the Euphrates all the way to, you know, the rivers in Africa. You know, so all right, so we see that Canaan Canaan kids are gonna be mixed. The Canaanites gonna be mixed with Cain kids, and that's gonna be the people that ain't listed in the Bible, you know, because the people not listed with nowhere in Shem's lineage or genealogy. So then when you get to 36, and then you'll see that Edom start mixing with these people that didn't have no genealogy either, and then that's gonna be Cain descendants. Cain descendants, you know. Okay. All right. And then remember when it said that the giants will have kids that will be great in the earth and renowned, and that's gonna be these dukes and so forth. The people, these dukes that came from the people that didn't have no genealogy with Noah's sons, and not in Noah's son's lineage. You know, that's like Timnah. You know, all them are gonna be descendants from the giants, and the giants are gonna be just Cain descendants mixed with some other beings. All right. So as you read, you know, you will see that, you know, Genesis 36, how Edom would mix up, you know, with them folks, and take on a genes and mix with them, and how the giants were, you know, still around after the flood, you know. And then as you read, you will see that you know he mixed with them, and then them people, the folks that was in Sir is gonna be an Amorite stronghold. So, you know, and that's where Edom went. So Edom would lose his pigmentation too, because the Amorites had lost their pigmentation because they mixed with the giants. You know, and if you go to Joshua 18:17, I think. Let's see. Joshua 18:17. See, all these people, you know, we didn't get rid of when we come out of Egypt. And that caused our destruction also, because when we come out of Egypt, we were supposed to get rid of those beings and stuff that was wicked, that had probably escaped the flood because they was after the flood. As I have shown that our father Abraham them was on one side where it was a flood at, where Joshua said, so they come to the other side. And and that's probably where wasn't a flood and them folks them fled to, and that's why them folks was all close to Africa, and how them folks had mixed with the Canaan kids. All right, as you read Joshua 18, and then let me see, you get down to verse 16. And the border came down to the end of the mountain that lieth before the valley of Hinnom, which is in the valley of the giants on the north, and descended into the valley of Hinnom. All right, so he gonna be talking about Judah's border, but you know it was giants there at first, and we were supposed to have got rid of them folks. And then if you read to verse 28, I think. You know what I'm saying? The Jebusites. You know, the Jebusites lived in there. You know what I'm saying? Lived with them folks. And Jebusi is a short word for Jerusalem. And Zela, Aphla, and Jebusi, which is Jerusalem. So, Jerusalem was tenant with them folks. And that shows where Jerusalem come from. And let me show you something else. That would show that them folks, from Babylon had a Cain heritage to them, because if them folks want to get back up in the sky, and I've showed how the sons of gods mixed with them, and they had to come from the heavens, then that would make these folks want to get up in the heavens too. And then if you read Ezekiel, that's gonna be not Ezekiel, but prophet Isaiah. That's gonna be Isaiah 14, chapter 14. And it's going to tell you, what I'm saying, about Lucifer, the son of the morning, how he was cut down to the ground. For the Elohim will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Elohim for servants and for handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Well, we sure enough waiting on that to happen, and we know that didn't happen during the time that we was on the land, before we was driven into Africa into the curses, and that we never experienced that. We ain't never experienced that. So that's gonna have to take place, and we pray that take place soon. All right. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Elohim shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from thy hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve. Sure enough, it ain't been no worse of bondage than the bondage that we have been in now. And the Egyptian bondage, and the Babylonian bondage, and the Assyrian bondage ain't even added up to this bondage that we in now. This a whole different bondage, whereas the people knew who they were in the past. Our whole heritage has been stripped from us now. We done lost everything, and it's hard to convince the people that we the Hebrews. You have to show them some show enough history, like I'm able to do. But this has been a bondage like no other, where the people's souls has been snatched from them, and we have been made to destroy ourselves. In all other bondage, we kind of like had some type of unity. But in this bondage, man, we ain't had no unity, and we've been devouring ourselves, and the beast been devouring us, and we need saving. Right, and it shall come to pass in that day, the Elohim shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how had thou oppressed ceased, the golden city ceased. And when it say the king of Babylon, that's gonna be the king of them Jews, because the Babylonian system was put on the road. We know that the Persians come in and destroyed Babylon after they had destroyed the promised land and chased us into Africa, and that the Babylonians were put on the road, and how America is this newfound daughter of Babylon. That's mentioned in Jeremiah, how Babylon will have a daughter and stuff. And them people is united, and they do have a king. And some say it's the Rothschilds, that he the king of Babylon. All right. How had the oppressor ceased, the golden city? The Elohim had broken the staff of the wicked, and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, and persecuted, and none hindered. And they sure enough ruled the nations, the Ashkenazi, Babylonian, and Sephardi Jews together ruled the nations through their banking system, and how all the nations on the earth has been forced to use their money, which control their country and their people, and all the sins that's connected to it, the murders, the killings, the abortions, everything that's connected to the dollar, where they've been having control of it, and they have ruled the earth with a continual stroke. And they've been the rulers of all nations, and they control the United Nations, and that's how they control the world, through the United Nations. That's, in New York and stuff, and all the nations in the United Nations go 9 out of 10 use the money that them bankers, the Babylonian bankers, created, because the system is controlled by some people who can trace their descendancy all the way to the Babylonian banking system and how they still around today. And we know that Nebu, the Babylonian scribe, is put on the door of the Library of Congress. So they showing you that this is a Babylonian system also. They'll tell you. All right. He who smote the people with a continual stroke, and that ruled the nations in anger and persecuted, and none hindered. Ain't nobody stopped this beast from doing what it want to. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break out forth in singing. If this system get destroyed that we under now, the whole earth will break out into singing and will be happy. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yeah, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no filler is come up against us. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It had raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. And we know with their archaeology and how they done dug up all the graves. Every ancient king that's been buried, that's in these folks' realm of control, they done dug him up. From South America to North America to all in Africa, they done dug up all the kings. So all this is true. All right. All they shall speak and say, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? The pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of the vows. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, and I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yah. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. So there's going to be Cain descendants right there, because Cain descendants are mixed with the angelic beings that come down, and that made it with, the fair people that didn't have no pigmentation. The fair people going to be Cain descendants. So those beings gonna come down and mix with them. So you should see somebody trying to get back up into the heavens to be up there. And sure enough, it's them people that I'm talking about, the Babylonian scribes, and we know who the Babylonian scribes is. Them Sephardi folks. And I'm gonna show you how they got their whole land back from us after we chased them out and held control of it. All right, but as you see, man, it says that, he will be trying to get into the heavens, and I will ascend into heaven and exalt my thrones above the stars. We know who that is right now today, and the earth is experiencing them folks, been up there, been trying to get up there and control. So I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of the prisoners? Yeah, man, that's them folks. Them gonna be Cain descendants, and Cain descendants gonna be in a mix with them Amorites. And when it says that the people are of renewal and the kings and stuff that would be in the earth, that's gonna be them folks that they mix with, that they call dukes and so forth. In Genesis 36, Cain mixed up big. Edom mixed up big with them. See, Edom mixed with Amorite Canaanites. They would get that Cain bloodline through the Amorite Canaanite tribes. Edom did, and that's why come Edom lost their pigmentation, and Edom is counted amongst them people. And we know how our mother and father was grieved when Edom had went into them folks, and our mom and daddy Isaac and Rebecca didn't like that, and they didn't like him going into them Canaanite tribes, which he did, and that grieved them. Let's see if I can show that. Yeah, so the Canaanite tribes gonna be the killers and the murderers. All right, so we do know that Edom mixed with the people in Sir, which is gonna be the Amorites, and also Sir is gonna be where the Nephilims and the giants were, and that's that bloodline would be the Canaanites, and mix all with the Canaanites, and those are the people that we were supposed to have destroyed when we came out of Egypt with Prophet Moses and Prophet Joshua. And Prophet Joshua tell us in our last days that them folks was gonna tear our mouth out if we violated or fell off in any kind of way, as did Prophet Moses. And this gonna be Prophet Joshua last speech right here, and he says this: and Joshua gathered all the tribes of Israel to Shittim, and called for the elders of Israel, and for their heads, and for their judges, and for their officers. And they presented themselves before Yah. And Joshua said unto all the people, thus saith the Elohim Yah of Israel, your fathers dwelt on the other side of the flood in old time, even Terah, the father of Abraham, and the father of Nahor, and they served other gods. And I took your father Abraham from the other side of the flood, and led him throughout all the land of Canaan, and multiplied his seed, and gave him Isaac. And I gave unto Isaac Jacob and Esau, and I gave unto Esau Mount Seir to possess it. But Jacob and his children went down into Egypt, down into the Sahara, Africa, because Egypt is the Sahara. You see? I sent Moses also and Aaron. I plagued Egypt according to that which I did among them. And afterwards I brought you out. And I brought your fathers out of Egypt. And ye came unto the sea. And the Egyptians pursued after your fathers with chariots and horsemen unto the Red Sea. And they cried unto the Elohim. And he put darkness between you and the Egyptians, and brought the sea upon them, and covered them. And your eyes have seen all what I have done in Egypt. And ye dwell in the wilderness a long season. And I brought you into the land of the Amorites, which dwelt on the other side of Jordan. And they fought with you, and I gave them into your hand. That ye may possess their land. Them gonna be the folks that's gonna be mixed with Cain's seed, that had all that wickedness going on. That's gonna be the wickedness of Sodom and Gomorrah, that the Creator destroyed, but they scattered, and we were supposed to get rid of the rest of them, and we didn't, and we got our mouth tore out. Let me see. And I brought you into the land of the Amorites, which dwell on the other side of Jordan, and they fought with you, and I gave them into your hand, that ye might possess their land, and I destroyed them from before you. Then Balak the son of Zippor, king of Moab, arose and warred against Israel, and I sent and called Balaam the son of Beor to curse you. But I would not hearken unto Balaam, therefore he blessed you still. So I delivered you out of his hand, and ye went over Jordan, and came unto Jericho, and the men of Jericho fought against you, and the Amorites, the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Geshites, and the Havites. You see, the Hittites gonna be Cain descendants. They ain't gonna be mixed. They ain't gonna be listed among the descendants of Cain. Let me see, and the Geshites, the Havites, and the Jebusites, and I delivered them into your hand, and I sent the hornets before you, which drove them out from before you, even the two kings of the Amorites, but not with thy sword nor with thy bow. And I have given you a land for which ye did not labor, and cities which ye built not, and ye dwelled in them, of the vineyards and the olive yards which ye planted not do ye eat. Now, therefore, fear the Elohim and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve ye the Elohim. See, we was messed up with the Egyptian religion. We was messed up with the Egyptian religion from the time that we left Egypt. Them Egyptians poisoned us with their thoughts, and that's what caused us to lose the covenant during the Babylonian wars, and we was chased into Africa, and we been in trouble, and we eventually got enslaved, and here we are in captivity now under Canaan descendants. All right. Now, therefore, fear the Elohim and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve ye the Elohim. And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Elohim, choose you this day who ye will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Elohim. That's like now. We finna have to choose which gods to serve to where our father served on the other side of the ocean. And we didn't serve no Jesus or didn't believe in Jesus on the other side of the ocean. You know, we only got that on this side, on the captivity side. You know, we didn't serve Jesus or none of that stuff in Africa, and how all that stuff is new to us, and that how that we got all that stuff in the slavery days. You know, we got all that stuff in the slavery days. You know, we didn't bring that stuff from Africa all the way over here, and we didn't know nothing about Jesus. You know, this is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood, and how all this stuff was given to us under oppression in our captivity. All right. And the people answered and said, Yah forbid that we should forsake the Elohim to serve other gods. Oh, man. You know what I'm saying? I can show that we, had to eat them words. We only got 800 years in the promised land from the time of our exodus all the way to the time that we was driven out. All right. And the people answered and said, God forbid that we should forsake the Elohim to serve other gods. For the Elohim our Yah, He it is that brought us and our fathers out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage, which did those great signs in our sight, and preserved us in all the way wherein we went, and among all the people through whom we passed. We quick to forget the Creator. As soon as they introduce a party to us, we abandon the Creator. All right. And the Elohim drove out before us all the people, even the Amorites, which dwell in the land. Therefore will we also serve the Elohim, for he is our Yah. And Joshua said unto the people, Ye cannot serve the Elohim, for he is an holy Yah. He is jealous, a jealous Yah. He would not forgive your transgressions nor your sins. I know that's right, and it showed that the Creator is jealous, because when we said that we was going into Africa to worship the Egyptian religion in the book of Jeremiah, we was driven, we were driven out the land and eventually enslaved, and here we are now. If ye forsake the Elohim and serve strange gods, then he will turn and do you hurt and consume you after that he had done you good. And the people say unto Joshua, Nay, but we will serve the Elohim. And Joshua said unto the people, Ye are witness against yourselves that ye have chosen you the Elohim to serve him. And they said, We are witness. Now therefore put away, said he, the strange gods which are among you, and incline your ear unto the Elohim Yah. And the people said unto Joshua, The Elohim our Yah will we serve, and his voice will we obey. So Joshua made a covenant with the people that day, and set them a statute and an ordinance in Shittim. And Joshua wrote these words in the book of the law of Yah, and took a great stone and set it up there and under an oak that was by the sanctuary of the Elohim. So he told us, that if we would break the covenant, that what was going to happen to us. And we know that that's the same with what Prophet Moses told us. And if you go to the book of Jeremiah, this is going to be our last act on the land. If you go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 44, we doing just the opposite of what Joshua said, and what we had agreed to do. You know, we had got taken down through there because after Samuel, you know, we was messed up in the whole judges area. We was in all kind of captivities to the people in the land that we didn't get rid of. And then Samuel come on around by 1100 BC, and we, you know, tried to follow the law with Samuel, Saul, and King David. And then Solomon come on around by 970 BC. And then when Solomon died, and then in 931 BC, when Jeroboam come out of Egypt with that Egyptian religion, we stayed on that mess for 300 years, all the way to King Josiah cleaned it up. And then we was only clean for 30 years, and the Egyptians come and killed him. And then we were going to Africa, and here we are enslaved right now today. All right, for fooling with them folks, for with Cain descendants that don't believe, and the Egyptian system was affected by it. All right, if you go to Jeremiah chapter 44, verse 15, 16, 17, and 18 is a state of mind, and I can show throughout the whole Tanakh, and I got a video about this, how we always wanted to return to Egypt, which is Africa, which is the Sahara. All right, then all the men which knew that their wives had burned incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by a great multitude, even all the people that dwelled in the land of Egypt and Petros, answered Jeremiah, saying, as for the word that thou hast spoken to us in the name of the Elohim, we would not hearken unto thee, but we would certainly do so whatever thing go forth out of our own mouth, to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, as we have done, we and our fathers, our kings, and our princes in the cities of Judah, and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then had we plenty of food, and were well, and saw no evil. But since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things, and have been consumed by the sword and by famine. We got our mouth tore out for that. And we went into Egypt. And if you read over here, you'll see it says, and it come to pass that when Jeremiah had made an end of speaking unto all the people, all the words of the Elohim their Yah, for which the Elohim their Yah had sent him to them, even all these words, then spake Azariah the son of Hashiel, and Johanan the son of Ker, and all the proud men, saying unto Jeremiah, thou speakest falsely. The Elohim our Yah had not sent thee to say, go not into the land of Egypt to sojourn there. But Barash the son of Ner setteth thee on against us, for to deliver us into the hand of the Chaldeans, that they might put us to death and carry us away captive to Babylon. All right, man, I got videos showing what happened, who did it, when it was done. You know, you Hebrews gonna have to look at them videos and listen to them, and I explain what happened to us. But you know, I'm showing now how Cain descendants mixed with them Amorites, and those was the fair people, and how, you know, them the people, you know, they got control of our heritage, because those Amorites, them Amorites are from Babylon, and they the founders of Babylon. And in 722 BC, when we was on the Egyptian religion, these people right here was placed in our land. All right, this to reconfirm us going into Africa too, and it's all the tribes. And I show in the videos how it was no 10 lost tribes. And all the people, both small and great, and the captains of the armies arose and came to Egypt, for they were afraid of the Chaldees. You know, so we had went on into Africa, and the Chaldees wasn't nothing but Ashkenazi. You know, I got videos showing how the Ashkenazi shot the land up to get us up off of it, and how Habakkuk prophesied them folks coming, and how they showed, and how he said what they would do to us. I covered the whole Assyrian and Babylonian captivity in detail in a whole bunch of videos. You have to look at them. All right, but if you go to Second Kings, these are the people, the Cain descendants. Cain descendants, that was the Amorites that founded Babylon, and how these folks would come back and get their land. You know, come back and get their land. All right. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cuddar, and from Abel, and from Hamath, And from Sepharavim is going to be the Hebrew word for the Sephardi groups. The Sephardi, Sephardic, and Sepharodim. They are from Sepharavim. And those are the scribes, the writers, the people that's responsible for the whole Babylonian history. So our history and our heritage fell in their hands. And them going to be the people that's going to influence all the Amorite tribes. And they are Semitic, mean mixed, mean that they all become one. Alright, so the Sephardims was placed in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel, and they possessed and dwelt in Samaria, in the cities thereof. And as you read, you'll see that they was trying to do our little stuff that we was doing in Samaria, and how they had brung a priest back to try to teach them the ways, and how they did their Babylonian religion in our covenant heritage and history that we had in, Samaria at that time, even though it was tainted with that Jeroboam stuff. They did it, and that's what they was doing. And they did that. We did that all the way up to the time that, King Josiah cleaned it up. But if you see that the Havites, those gonna be Amorites. The Havites, all right, if you go to Joshua 3, you're gonna see that we chased them folks out the land, and here they was being placed back in the land. You see Havites, all right, and then you go to Genesis 13:3. All right, you see them. This is the land that ye shall remain in all the borders of the Philistines from shore. We had took the land, and we had chased them folks, which is counted to the Canaanites, fire lords of the Philistines, the Gezathites, the Ashadites, the Ishkelonites, the Gethites, and the Ishkelonites, and also the Avites. See, we chased them folks away and took their land, but yet the king of Assyria come place them back in the land. You see what I'm saying? Place them back in the land. And they was also placed back in the land with them Babylonian scribes. You see the Avites, and the Avites made Bishhaz and Tark, and the Sephardims burnt their children. They, like the Sephardims did the abortions, because the Canaanite sins were so bad that it produced abortions. The Canaanite sins with the mixing, having animal sex, gay folks doing all that wickedness, and just all the wickedness. Well, all that will make folks need abortions, because they will have children out of sin and out of wickedness, and they'll try to get rid of them kids and stuff. And that's when them folks come in with that abortion stuff. And that stuff is right now on us today. And that's where it come from. It come from Babylon and them folks, them Canaanite tribes. And that's what they been doing to us. And that's how they basically wiped us out with that. All kind of unborn Hebrews that they snatched from this earth and stuff, because we caught up in their sins, and we be trying to get rid of the children that is associated with that sin and stuff. Okay. Them Canaanites. I showed where the Canaanites gonna be the first to disbelieve in the Creator, and how that they would get on the way, the Creator chase them on the way, and how they would be fair and have no pigmentation, and how they mix with them Amorite tribes, and how them Amorites and them Edomites mix and become one, and how that legacy will be passed to the folks that was placed in our land in 722 BC. They gonna be the same people. They Amorites, and the Amorites had a covenant before we did, and they turned wicked because they had mixed with Cain descendants, them giants, and I could show them mixing with the giants as I have shown. They mix with them giants, and that's what caused the Creator to wipe out Sodom and Gomorrah and so forth. And even Prophet Moses told us not to mix with them folks. If you go to Numbers, this throughout the whole scriptures, don't mix with them. Don't mix with them. And that's one of why they got the mixing agenda today, trying to make the people mix and be all mixed up, because they know that it destroyed us 2 times. It destroyed us when we was in the promised land, and how we got chased out, and then it destroyed the exiles that come back from Babylon, got them killed by the Greeks. So they win in hand is when they can get us to mix, or be trying to mix with people outside our ethnic and tribal groups and stuff. You know, we shouldn't mix with nobody that ain't from the transatlantic slave trade. If you ain't a descendant from the transatlantic slave trade, we ain't got no business mixing up with you, because if we do, it's to our destruction. All right, and Prophet Moses said this: when the Elohim thy Yah shall bring thee into the land, whether thou goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, the Geshurites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Havites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater than thou and mightier than thou. And when Elohim that Yah shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them, and thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriage with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. You know, we should have destroyed them folks, and because we didn't destroy them, we got destroyed and we lost our heritage and our land. As I've showed, that Prophet Joshua kept telling us that y'all gonna get taken up off the land. He gonna snatch you up off the land and drag you away if you get in that land and start doing them folks religion and start mixing up with them. And that's just what we did, and that's why we in captivity now. And that's why come we got enslaved. And I done showed how this is an Egyptian and Babylonian system. I done showed how the Egyptians, you know, that statue of King Necho is in New York. He killed King Josiah and put us on the Egyptian religion, and we go back into Africa during the Babylonian wars. I done showed how this obelisk was put up at the beginning of our enslavement, when they started, when Pharaoh started killing the babies and made a ordinance to kill the babies, the firstborns, and how that is tied to abortion and our oppression. That obelisk that's in New York is called the Cleopatra Needle. That's a misname that they gave it. It was thousands of years before her, and how they got one at the beginning of our Egyptian captivity, and then they got us getting up off of it and then getting right back on it with King Josiah. So those two statues show that we in the Egypt, and they got obelisks everywhere. And we know this is an Egyptian system because the Masonic folks are the architects that go in and build and implement the Egyptian system. You know? Alright. Fair means white. Cain descendants mixed with Amorites. Amorites founded Canaan and Babylon. And that's where our trouble come from, because we didn't, you know, get rid of them folks. Okay, Hebrews, this is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. I pray that y'all got an understanding. And shalom. You know, subscribe to the Israelite Brotherhood and support this channel that I'm trying to get up and going. And tell others to watch these videos. And if you watch and listen to the other videos while you laying down, you'll wake up understanding a whole bunch of history also. Shalom. This is Israel ben Israel for the Israelite Brotherhood.